Welcome back to the SMT YouTube channel. In today's video, I'd like to discuss part of the AT&T and Boost Mobile deal in terms of the spectrum sale. And I mean, it's a pretty big deal, right? $23 billion. Obviously, Dish is kind of reducing, the fourth carrier optionality. They're going to be more of an MVNO than an MNO. We know that this is going to obviously enhance the AT&T network. Getting lots of spectrum means they're going to have a lot more bandwidth on air on all their tower sites, and that's going to create more capacity to make the network better, right? So we understand those things. But I think the elephant in the room is we got to talk about T-Mobile in this. T-Mobile is the company that leverages 600 megahertz across the entire country. You guys know the band as N71. It is, T-Mobile's low band 5G, channel. It's them. That's what they're known for. That's what they've done. They've been building it since 2019. It was obviously on LTE originally, but then they moved it and migrated over to 5G. And it really would have been huge for them to acquire the 5 to 10 megahertz of Dish 600 to just boost their low band carrier, right? You're talking about low band, so this is the indoor propagation. This is the long range reach of a network, right? So like on the edges of all these tower sites, right? Like when you're multiple miles away from a site, this is what reaches, right? This is what works inside people's homes, the lower levels, in building, and all that. So T-Mobile misses out, right? AT&T comes in and gets this. Now, the speculation is that maybe AT&T did this for leverage. AT&T did this with the hopes of maybe selling it, leveraging it for spectrum swaps with AT&T. And then that is a perfectly viable opinion or prediction, right? There's reason to believe that will happen. That is definitely a possibility, legitimate. But T-Mobile, in this case, missed out, right? Maybe they were in discussions with Dish for this, but maybe Dish priced them out. Maybe Dish wanted too much money and T-Mobile wasn't willing to pay. T-Mobile's got their own debt to worry about. They've been buying fiber providers. They've been building out a network for several years, right? The 5G network. They've been trying to get more 2.5, the 2.5 gigahertz, right? So it may have just kind of been timing. It may have been spending. It may have been a whole lot of factors, but they ended up missing out. Right, they've been doing deals with Columbia Capital to get the 600. They've been doing deals with, other companies to get the rest of the 600. They've got leases, they've got purchases. There's a lot of that stuff going on. So it's not the end of the world. It doesn't mean T-Mobile won't end up with it eventually. It just means for now they're kind of out of that, right? But the future could play out different. Now the thing about T-Mobile is don't count them out completely. There's still a possibility they could be involved in a spectrum deal with Dish. Dish still retains their N70 and their N66, which is the 2 gigahertz band. So you guys know this is kind of like a lower mid-band, slightly higher frequency than PCS band 2 or band 25. So they could still be involved. I don't think they'd be involved with any type of CBRS licenses from Dish. I don't think they're interested in the mmWave holdings. And I would be surprised if they were interested in the 700, the N29, but I think they're still in play for the N66 and the N70, the 2100 frequency. So that is still a possibility. So don't count out T-Mobile completely. They still could be involved. But I do think the thing that made the most sense for them was the 600, and they weren't able to kind of get involved at this time. So disappointing, but it's not the end of the world, and things could change in the future. But that would be something to kind of look forward to. And I'm definitely going to do a video on Verizon on this and AT&T. But relationship between Dish and T-Mobile is not strong. The relationship between T-Mobile and Dish, so literally Mike Sievert and Charlie Ergen, the leaders of the two companies, they're not friendly. Dish has always found, T-Mobile to be not nice. We know they stepped on their neck multiple occasions during this whole process since the merger with Sprint. They didn't want to pay them for the 600 megahertz access in New York and other cities. They haven't been nice towards the roaming agreement. I mean, it was a relationship that soured very quickly, right? And there were some legal issues too with the 800 megahertz, if you guys can recall that. So it doesn't surprise me that they didn't have a deal in place. It probably wasn't going to happen, but it doesn't mean that AT&T can't make a deal with T-Mobile later. That is definitely out there. But let me know what you guys think is the most likely outcome. Some of the things I discussed here. How do you think it's going to play out? Give me your thoughts and opinions. Comments, questions, concerns are welcome. Drop them for me. Like, share, subscribe. Check out some more videos. We'll see you guys soon on the next one.